And but yeah, man, it's the main card time. It started off with some fun fights, man. I enjoyed this main card. I think just from like a watchability and excitement factor, I'd say probably I enjoyed the prelims probably a little bit more than the main card. But I mean, the main card's the main card. It comes with bangers. So I don't know. How'd you feel about it? Prelims or main
I
card last
mean,
night?
definitely prelims,
Yeah, the
man. Like the
prelims were
main
heat.
card, like it's whatever,
A lot of
but
frustrating moments, shall we say?
yeah, it was just a lot of letdown for a lot of like fights that I thought was a lot of hype around, especially like the
Yeah,
Feely
fair.
fight. Like that sucked.
Yeah.
This first fight wasn't the best. I didn't think. Like
Oh, really?
just
I like this first fight. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm like head over heels with it, you know what I mean? But
I like the second fight more than the first fight.
you like the second. Yeah, that's fair. But that was a really good fight too. The first two fights I thought were good, man. We'll get to it, man. So we got
Let's
Renato
dive in.
Moicano. Yeah, we got Renato Moicano minus 250 fighting Jai Herbert plus 195. What was it? The Country Black Banger? Was that his
Yeah,
nickname?
yeah. I
Crazy
was like,
nickname.
yeah, and he's
Crazy.
from England too,
He's
so it's
from
like
England.
no,
I
like I was gonna say if you're American, and you put that name. That's almost like a little racist.
Well, when I'm pretty sure he is black, right? And
He is.
but also like I have no idea what like England's version of country even means. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that concept of like what I mean, I know they have it. I'm not stupid to think everybody in England is proper and
I mean, is that
pinky
supposed to
up.
mean that he's like a dude from the country that likes to fight and he's
That's how
black? Like, is
that's.
that?
I mean, how else am I supposed to interpret the country black banger? That's how I interpret. Like, this dude's a country black dude that likes to fight. That's. I mean, maybe there's some lost in translation there, but yeah, I don't know. Here in America, that's how we take it. But yeah, man, hell of a nickname, that's for sure. And so yeah, Moicano minus 250, Herbert plus 195, and if I'm not mistaken, he was making his debut, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Herbert's
he was making.
debut. Renato Moicano's a pretty tough guy to get a debut against too. But Herbert
Yeah,
is the training partner of Leon Edwards, so they
yes,
kind of had some big expectations for him, I
yeah.
think.
And I think like rightfully so. I mean, his hand speed. I
Yeah,
mean, like it jumped off the screen. You know, I love to talk about how shit jumps off the screen, but to me, no, seriously, like his hand speed and like the crispness of his strikes and like how fast his hand like returns after it hits you. You know what I mean? Just like the technique and the hand speed to me just jumped off the screen. I thought it was. I could understand the hype. I could understand people being excited about him. But like you said, yeah, Moicano, that's a hell of a debut. These
I,
boys were
I
fighting at lightweight.
I feel like guys from England always have really good boxing, but they
Yeah.
always lack some other really important skill like wrestling or jujitsu. Like there's some grappling aspect they're almost always missing.
Yeah, and that was definitely the story of this fight. It was on full display, especially starting off in the first round. Moicano had three takedowns. And so we always said that not all takedowns are created equal, and some takedowns aren't worth all that much, and some takedowns are, worth a whole lot, and it can be kind of convoluted for some people that don't understand nuance. Well, here's an example of how to make your takedown score well and actually be meaningful. Every single takedown he got, he was in full mount in like a matter of
Immediately.
seconds. Like
Yeah,
I
immediately.
don't know if I like that was one of the more quicker, and it wasn't like a fluky thing where he just kind of ended up there because he kept doing it. He had this knack for ending up in mount just at will,
I
at
couldn't
will.
understand how Herbert's defense was so bad.
Well, that's what it is, right? I'm acting like it's some
Yeah.
miracle new technique. He was just pretty much stepping over, and Herbert wasn't stopping it. Like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not
I
some
mean,
like,
granted, Moicano is a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner, but it was like Herbert literally didn't know what he was doing.
yeah, man, yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of it. Like, once it hit the mat, he would just literally step over instantly into full mount, like almost to his detriment. Like he would get to full mount almost too quick to where he couldn't really establish a good, like sturdy base. You know what I mean? Like I think he may have even been better served
That's
just staying in half guard some of that time because that's how Herbert was able to keep getting to his feet and kind of going between his legs.
that's a fantastic observation, and I think DC even made it a later in the fight. But yeah, essentially, it was like for him to stay in half guard was more productive than for him to be in half or than in full mount. Sorry, I was about to say half mount. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So better
No,
to be in
no.
half guard than full mount for him, only because he could do more damage there. In full mount, for some reason, he couldn't get any damage off. It was really confusing.
Yeah, but I'll say though, like if you want to make your takedown score like to a judge, go ahead and get to full mount though. You know what I mean? That gave
True,
it, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that helped him in that regard. So without a doubt, 10-9 Moicano in round one, pretty dominant 10-9. Just not a ton of damage. So like anybody that may be thinking 10-8, it was dominant, but it was a dominant 10-9 because there wasn't enough damage in my opinion for a 10-8. And then in round two, man, it was the night of quick taps. We were talking there was a lot of finishes, but two of them were the quickest taps, the quickest hands in the West.
Well, he hurt him with some ground and pound.
No, he
If
did.
I'm
It was 4.5 minutes of dominant ass whooping. So yeah, by the time he attempted to choke, Herbert was ready to get out of there, and he was super outclassed on the ground. But all that being said, super quick tap.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Kenneth said it. He's eating shots though, as like, yeah, and Kenneth, like earlier we were saying that on one of those other quick taps from El Tractor, it was just like it's not that the tap is quick because they are beaten like by punches and shit. It's just the tap is quick to say that they were about to pass out. Like it's like they're just getting out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But great performance by Moicano. I mean, he looked great, especially over a guy that they were so high on. But I mean, the guy's grappling deficiencies were just so glaring. You know what I mean? That like a lot of fighters would have did that to Herbert, in my opinion, especially in the lightweight division, full of dope grapplers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
so yeah, Herbert's got to tighten that up.
I'm sure for Herbert, they're going to get him someone that's a little more welcoming to his skill set, and
Yeah,
also is not Renato Moicano, who is a pretty like top 25, top 20 155er,
yeah, yeah.
which is
That
a
was no
deep weight
joke.
class.
Deep
So
weight class, seriously. And yeah, I mean, Herbert against the striker is a fun fight to watch just visually because I said I was really impressed with Herbert's hand speed and his striking. It was just the grappling deficiency were super glaring. But yeah, Moicano wins, and we will keep it pushing. So you know what? I always forget that Tim Means is from Oklahoma, but our boy Kenneth is watching live right now. Was posting about him on his story because he always talks about New Mexico. He trains out of New Mexico, but apparently originally from Oklahoma.
yeah, the Dirty Bird, you know what I'm saying? Lake Dirty Bird.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I always forget that, man. Always slips my mind. But yeah, Tim Means minus 140. The Dirty Bird fighting Nicolas Dalby plus 115. And then I remember the last time we watched Dalby fight, I was so high on him and he looked so good. But Means, that was a good next matchup for him because Means, he's been in there with a lot of different styles of fighters. He pretty much has answers for different styles of fighter, and Dalby is pretty one dimensional. So
At
I
this
thought
point, at this point, Means is just a vet, man. Like he's
he's a
like that
vet.
vet
Yeah,
savvy. Like he gets like vet minimum every fight because he's like I know he's like over the 20 fight threshold or whatever it is. So like he's getting like paid to fight. Like I'm sure the UFC kind of wants to get rid of Tim Means because I think he probably costs them more money than he's worth to them. But I love Tim Means. Like I'll always
yeah,
watch Tim Means fight. He's great with his elbows, great with his knees, long and rangy, pretty good grappler, not the best grappler. 40, he's
45.
40 professional fights, but I'm saying
Yeah,
20 in the
in the
UFC.
UFC. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's been around a hot minute. Fought a lot of great fighters. Yeah, he was the minus 140 favorite. I thought that was cool. People showed him respect. I think it was more just like the glaring holes in Dalby's game. But yeah, these boys were fighting at welterweight. And man, in round one, Means he hurt Dalby's eye straight off the rip. And then once he was hurt, started to use his grappling.
Were you not amazed when he dropped him with the 1-2 and didn't pursue it at all?
Means
Yeah, he dropped Dalby with just like that hard 1-2 down the pipe, and like Dalby like fell backwards and then like hit the cage and then like stood up.
that's when
And
the veteran savvy cautiousness. Sometimes they may be a little too cautious. You know
yeah,
what I
right,
mean? Because
right,
he knew it
right.
was early in the fight. He didn't want to shoot his load. He knew he was kind of safe if they got back on the feet. Because he had proven. I don't know. There's like a fine line, right? When like the younger version of the fighter is too aggressive, and probably the older version of the fighters maybe doesn't go for the kill in those moments. Yeah,
It's fair. It's fair.
yeah.
I
And
just
then
it struck me as odd because I'm so used to watching all these like the prelim guys, I guess, that are young guys that just
yeah,
like just race for it.
yeah,
So when you
yeah.
see vets not go for it, it's like it's stark.
Like Jeremiah Wells, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't pull a Jeremiah Wells at all. But man, and then in round two, what I thought once again talking about veteran savvy, Tim Means started going to the body super effectively. the
super
whole
effectively.
like the whole side of Dalby's ribs were red, and they were essentially mainly from punches. There were some kicks and stuff, but it was the punches to the body, which you don't see a ton of in MMA usually, especially from distance. You'll see it up against the cage sometimes or in the clinch, but like the distance punches to the body were just super effective. Dalby was feeling them.
Well, and near the end of the round too, this is where I wrote Confiders here at DC / do they listen to him, and I like this is a clear example is he says something about Means is going great, doing all this body work, blah, blah, like he's talking about it. And then he goes, and what that's going to do is going to drop Dalby's like right hand so that Means can come over the top. And like within, he says, so he can come over the top and hurt him with a big shot. I swear within 2 seconds of those words being out of his mouth, he literally does those exact, like that exact sequence happens. And he like rocks Dalby. And I even wrote after that, I was like, damn, Dalby can eat some bombs because he started eating like some harder shots even after that to close out the round. And I was just like, I actively wondered, A, can they hear DC? Are they listening? And B,
they can hear
Dalby has a chance.
They can hear because they can hear them. Like everybody can hear each other. It's the apex.
It's like coaches, right? Like if you can hear your coaches, you should be able to hear the commentators. They're
Yeah.
almost at the same distance. And I feel like sometimes DC and Felder are yelling. Yeah, he's a loud dude.
So high. Yeah, yeah. No, it's a very valid point. It's a very valid point. But it's also like, I feel like he's calling out like the obvious move. That's like you're a former lineman. If you notice a pulling guard is winning his matchup every time they pull him, and then on the next 3rd and 2, you're going to be like,
you're going to run a counter.
They need to run counter left.
Yeah, like counteraction run plays are obviously going to be dominant if your pulling guard is really good. So, yeah.
So, yeah, there's certain things that it's like he's just saying like what needs to happen, you know, and he's correct. What's Kenneth talking about?
What was up with the ring girls laughing at the commentators? We did talk about that earlier too, Kenneth. We were talking about how Fitzgerald seemed really awkward and nervous about it, and how Felder and DC were just like making it a joke. And like, I almost wonder if one of those ring girls wants to hook up with Felder. I don't know if he's married or not. But I know the other two dudes are.
Could you blame him, right? I mean, what
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, nah, Felder's cool. Like, he's just a real cool dude.
It makes me wonder if Fitzgerald did something like creepy and awkward at some point. I think that seems like a distinct possibility because he seems like an awkward dude. He's awkward chilling with the boys. I don't know what he'd be like in a room full of hot women.
Kid said he used to make the move.
old Paulie Red Stash, kind of trying to ride the red carpet, but
he might have a wife. He might have a wife and 2 kids. I could be completely off. I think, in fact, he does.
Like he
but
could go either way. Like he could be the wildest of boys, or he could be just like the family.
A family man. Yeah.
Like,
just get all of his aggression
both
out.
Vibes too. Like if he wanted to be a wild boy, I'm sure he could. But but yeah, man, we'll get it back. So Means took 1 and 2 on both of our cards. And that was pretty obvious to everybody that watched. But in round 3, Dalby, was still in it. And we got to talk about Dalby's breathing. We can't talk about this fight and not talk about Dalby's weirdly loud breathing that at first sounded like he was gassed, but then turned into it started to be apparent it had to be like some kind of breathing technique, right? Or
yeah, I
he
guess
had one of those weird. You know what I think it might have been? Did you ever have one of those mouthpieces that had the holes you could breathe through, and it would kind of whistle and make extra noise? I think he was breathing hella hard through the holes in the mouthpiece, and it was amplifying the sound because he wasn't because they were talking about it the whole fight where he sounded hella gassed, but he would still had a lot of zip on his shots and was still fighting at a high pace, so he wasn't fighting gassed. I don't know. What was your thoughts on the whole loud breathing?
Maybe he broke his nose in camp and then didn't heal right and
mouth breathing out of the mouth.
It was just mouth breathing because his nose was stopped. Or it was a breathing technique because for 15 minutes he did it, So I don't know. I don't think it helped him. And I will say as well, he was talking to DC and them about how his VO2 max and all that was the highest he'd ever been measured at, all that. Oh, great. Your measurables were great, I guess. You didn't help you win.
Yeah.
So
but in round 3, Dalby did hurt Means. We can't fairly assess the fight without bringing that up. It was Dalby's best moment of the fight, which is round 3, which is more proof that he wasn't gassed.
Did you feel like Means was fighting the 3rd round he knew he won the first 2, though?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
I felt like that was fully foot off the gas, which is that's definitely a vet move because he was I'll just play the survival game, not really tax myself.
He did it. He just hung on him and clinched him up out and survived the rest of the round.
I don't know if I love that, though.
I don't love it. I'm sure Dana didn't love it, especially like you said, they're probably paying him quite a bit. But I mean, he got the win, and
You
he
know the old Dana Duffel didn't like it.
no, no, not at all. But yeah, everybody, us and all three judges all saw it 29-28. This one wasn't very controversial.
Nah.
Tim Means gets the win. Like I said, kind of coasted to the finish line, which nobody truly loves when fighters do that. But you blame the guy? You know what I mean? And Dalby is a very dangerous striker. So, I mean, can you blame the guy for not wanting to walk into a shot and
No, and like
blow a
if you
2-round lead
honestly, if I won the first 2 rounds, like pretty much knowing I did,
in the bag?
and I know that my win bonus, because like I said, he's 20 fights deep, so he gets the big vet minimum, and it's show and win, and they're at the same numbers, and you only get one guaranteed. So like, if I'm already up two, I might just chill and make that extra 25 grand or whatever it is he gets.
No,
Dude,
seriously.
25 grand to chill for 5 minutes. 5 minutes to chill.
Yeah, well, he
25
got
grand.
hurt. He got hurt.
Yeah, it's a dangerous
Yeah,
thing, but
yeah.
is it more dangerous to try and go out and take his head off and get put
That's
to
what I'm
sleep?
saying, and walk into something. Yeah, he
Yeah,
didn't want to
right.
walk into a shot because Dalby,
Dalby's dangerous.
he can strike. He can strike for sure.